Hello, this is Nancy Juetten, and I am the leader of the podcast Visibility Live Lab and the host of the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. And today I'm very honored and thrilled to bring to you one of my successful clients, Patricia Doucet, who was a client in the most recent 12-week session of the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. And I wanted to bring her to you today so you can experience what led her to say yes, what happened for her as a result, and what she might have to say to you if you're sitting on the fence trying to decide if this is something that would serve you and your star and your income on the rise. So let's get to it. Patricia Doucet, so good to have you here. What is it that you do? Who do you do it for? And why does it matter?
It's good to be here, Nancy. I inspire midlife women to want to beautifully put themselves back together after they feel like life has broken them into pieces and thrown them to the curb. And I like to encourage them to go from broken to beloved.
Broken to beloved, beautiful. And don't you have a forthcoming book of that title coming soon?
I am working on my book at this time. I'm about halfway through, and I'm hoping to have it published by the end of summer, early fall.
Very, very good. So what caused you to decide to enroll in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp in the first place?
Well, I saw little snippets of the Broadcast Your Brilliant Bootcamp coming up, and I thought, oh, it sounds like an awful big chunk of information for me. I just want to learn how to do my bio and how to do a speaker one sheet. So going into the program, I wanted to just dial down those two things, which I did. Well, I got a lot more than I bargained for.
Oh yeah, tell us more.
Well, I actually, when I went in, I said, I am not going to do podcasts. No way am I going to do a podcast. And I thought I'll just take what I want from it, the help to do the speaker one sheet and the bio, because I really needed help with those, and I wasn't going to do a podcast. Well, I have done podcasts. Nancy promised that she would encourage us to do 4 to 12 podcasts to get them booked, and I did 4+ in that time frame. So I couldn't believe it. I was so excited.
You know, it's funny. Sometimes people come to me because they want a bio and a media one sheet because I've gotten more than slightly famous for being good at doing that. But, you know, a bio and a media one sheet in a vacuum doesn't really accomplish what needs to happen unless people can see what you are and who you are and why it matters. And that's why I emphasize that people should speak up and share their message where audiences are already paying attention. So since you say that you had no intention of doing that and you went kicking and screaming essentially to podcast guesting, what happened for you personally when you started showing up on these shows?
I gained a lot of confidence that I didn't have before. Confidence in ways I wouldn't even have imagined, to be able to dial in my message and to make it more clear who my audience was. It did a lot for me that I hadn't even anticipated it would.
So good, so good. And was it fun to get into conversation with hosts knowing that they've already nurtured audiences to be paying attention?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's good to connect with like-minded people and people that are out there waiting for your message, and you may not even know it otherwise.
Now, one of the things I want to say about you, Patricia, is that you are someone who is the author of a forthcoming book, and you are creating an audience for your book even before the book is in your hand. That is so uncommon and yet so preferred. How does it make you feel knowing that people are finding out about the title of your book even before it's in your hand?
It feels a little less scary, if you will, because you get to put your message out there in little bite-sized pieces. And when you get good feedback and people appreciate what you say, you know your book will be well received by those anxious for the information and the help.
And isn't it true that you've probably created a irresistible lead magnet or some kind of a free gift that people can access now, even though the book isn't going to be ready for a few months?
I sure have. That came in with all the other great things I learned from joining Nancy. I have a lead magnet on my website from Broken to Beloved, and ladies that feel like they are in that category, they can go and they can download 3 first steps to go from broken to beautifully beloved. It starts
Beautiful.
somewhere.
And just because I'm curious, what URL would they go to get that report?
They would go from brokentobeloved.com.
Very good. From brokentobeloved.com. So any woman who has been kicked to the curb by life or an unfortunate marriage or any kind of life circumstance where they want to start building themselves back up and feeling good about who they are right now and what's coming for them in the future, that report is going to be like a blessing to them, wouldn't you say?
I hope so, and I pray so. Yes.
Because isn't your mission much bigger than selling books?
Oh, it sure is. My mission is to mentor women and to plan events online where women can come and share and support each other and not be judged and feel like, hey, I can really put myself back together, and all these pieces that I don't know what to do with, they can really mean something.
That's so good. Now, I'm sure in your journey as an author and a mentor, you've had the occasion to learn from other mentors and other experts. What would you say to people about what it was like to be in the Broadcast Your Brilliance boot camp as I led it? What about the way that I taught caused you to take a second look and make a decision to say yes?
Well, your energy level was something I aspired to. The energy and the excitement that you had to deliver your message, and the happiness you felt when you saw others succeed. It wasn't like I was just an outsider peering in. I felt like a part of it, and that my success mattered as much as anybody else's. It was awesome.
That's so good. Now, sometimes people that join my program would rather talk than type, and technology is not their favorite thing. And I seem to remember in the beginning when we were trying to get your Media One sheet done and dialed, there was some challenges that you were encountering there. What do you remember about how I helped you overcome those challenges?
Well, I remember specifically getting a phone call from you, which you just said, hello, this is Nancy. And you just took an interest in me personally, and not just another little face on the Brady Bunch on the screen, you know. And I did have trouble downloading the Media One sheet, and you helped me find some ways around that, and we got her done.
And I like to, amplify that a little bit, because sometimes people feel like they're rambling on their own. And it is a value of mine that every client will be seen, heard, helped, celebrated, and hopefully compensated as a result of their actions that they take as a result. And so the group was modest in size. It wasn't overwhelming in terms many people have choices, and they will go with people that have hundreds and hundreds of people in their groups. And this was 20 or 30 people. Mm-hmm. How was that for you?
It was excellent in the way that it wasn't too big of a group. It was just about right. But I think that however many you had in the group, you would find ways to make each of them feel validated.
Well, thank you. What about the other members of the group? Did you find yourself connecting and doing business and collaborating with other members of the group? And what happened in terms of the dynamic with regard to the group itself?
I did have make some connections there with some of the other ladies and some of the group members, and learned plenty from them, and hope they learned something from me too.
Outstanding. Now, what would you say to someone who is on the outside peering in, wondering, I wonder if the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp is for me? What would you say to a friend based on your own experience?
I would say dive in, jump in, and you won't be sorry. Give it all you've got, and you'll get back all you've got. And you can't do this alone. we'll try to do it alone, but you won't do it alone. You need others rooting for you. And that's what they want to do, help you along, because their success depends on seeing you succeed. So jump in, dive in, and the help is there.
Well, I'm so honored that you jumped in and that you transformed from a reticent, reluctant podcast guest into a confident, gracious messenger who's going to accomplish her mission to touch and transform women's lives around the world. I can't wait for people to get the opportunity to hold your book in their hands so they can be transformed. So won't you again share, where do people go to download the Broken to Beloved special report that will help them feel confident starting right now?
They can go from www.fromBrokenToBeloved.com.
And that report will be waiting on the other side. All they have to do is enter their name and their email address, and your loving support will be winging its way into their inbox so they can be sitting on the edge of their chair waiting for the full manuscript, which will be ready not too long from now. Patricia Doucet, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story of transformation. It's been a thrill to see you blossom and bloom, and I can't wait to see what next you do, because one thing for sure, podcast guesting is not something that you just do for a 12-week window. It's something that you make time to prioritize all year long consistently so that you can be seen, heard, celebrated, and ultimately compensated for your winning ways. May that star shine very brightly for you, not just now, but forever and for the lifetime of your successful business. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thank you, Nancy.